What's up, Chromatic Yogis? This is the first of many emails to come, which is super exciting. What I'm trying to create now is sort of a global momentum with this newsletter just exclusive to Chromatic teachers. And what I'm going to provide for you are a couple of things, or at least this is how it will start, and we'll see how it evolves. First, what I want to focus on this email is our new mission statement, our vision, and the pillars of Chromatic Yoga. And each week I'll be providing for you some updates to the latest manual and what Chromatic Yoga is. And in addition to that, each month we'll have a new focus for PTL, physical through line, and a TTL, thematic through line. Now, those of you that are level 1 certified, you'll be focusing on the physical through line and how to apply it to your teaching. And I would recommend doing it for at least a week. It may be the first week that you get this email, or you maybe take a little time to work out your sequences and you do it the second week. Some of you who are more consistent with your practice, you can take this physical through line throughout a whole month if you wish, but it's not obligated. It's just that we want to work with it at least for some time together collectively, and then we can use the Facebook group to provide our experiences there, and it'll give us something to talk about, and also a place for us to go over ideas. What did you come up with this physical through line? What did you come up with for your thematic through line, and what was your story? And what I'll do is I'll try to give you some examples of things, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll make edits accordingly as we need. I want to start, or the purpose of this video is to give you some of the updated information from the Chromatic Yoga manual. Now, I will continue to refine and redefine what Chromatic Yoga is. One thing I want to make clear is that this mission statement and this the pillars of Chromatic Yoga is really written in terms of how it relates to Chromatic Yoga as a school, rather than how it relates outwardly to our students. So what I would like to discuss is how we relate back Chromatic Yoga to our students. How do we break it down to the next level or the next layer outward, so that we are making this information relevant to everybody. So what I've got so far, what is Chromatic Yoga? Chromatic Yoga is a systematic approach to teaching that provides a highly intentional and purposeful experience for students to cultivate awareness of their body and mind. Authenticity is our highest core value for the purpose of cultivating and supporting an empowered community. Our vision: to ignite and unveil each person's highest potential and empower them to live boundlessly. So our new vision: to ignite and unveil each person's highest potential and empower them to live boundlessly. When I presented this new vision at Chromatic Yoga 1, it was received with mixed feelings, in that it sounds super exciting, like, yeah, I want to do that. And then the other side of the experience was, well, can I do that? Who am I to be? Am I actually able? Am I capable? Should teachers hold that power, and so on and so forth. And so I want to clarify this vision and remind everyone that when you look at what yoga is in the text, it's to unveil, or to stop all suffering, to remove all suffering from the world. It's got a big vision, and to remove all ignorance and suffering. And when talking about suffering in the yogic text, it's not suffering in terms of like poverty and homelessness and things of this nature, where we would think of like really suffering. But suffering is the concept of getting wrapped up in our ego, meaning our identity, thinking that the emotion that we're having is us, thinking that the thought we're having is us, the belief that we have is us, and that there is no other belief system. We are correct. And the getting wrapped up in I am a yoga teacher, this is suffering according to yogis, and I would agree to it. There's a certain level of attachment that happens when we start to really hardcore identify with what we do over who we truly are at the highest. At our highest level, there is no separation between you and I. It's the connection to all things. And this is something that I'm going to read to you in a moment, but this is why we chose the elements or nature as the philosophy of chromatic yoga. Because the elements in nature, when we recognize that we are a part of the elements and that within us exists all of nature's energy and nature's power, there could be no discrimination, there could be no racism, there could be, because when we recognize that we are a part of something bigger, you wouldn't want to cut yourself off. You cut yourself off, meaning there couldn't be racism because you'd be cutting a part of yourself out. Like one of the videos I sent in the Facebook group, the teacher says, the pinky finger is smaller than the others, but you don't need morals to not cut off your pinky. You wouldn't cut off your pinky, it's a part of you. And same in society. If we can get down to the depths of who we truly are, we would never put anyone else down because they are a part of us. So this is why nature is so important to our study, that we are nature and that nature pulses through us. So chromatic yoga, the vision, is to ignite and unveil each person's highest potential and to empower them to live boundlessly. The underlying subtext of that is that in order to do that, I'm going to just say one sentence: we can't take anybody anywhere we have not been. This is something my teacher Rudrani said once. You can't take anybody anywhere you have not been. So someone asked, I'd like to take people deeper into the meditation. And she said, you can't take anybody anywhere you have not been. So if we really truly are to ignite and unveil each person's highest potential and empower them to live boundlessly, we have to practice, which is one of the pillars of chromatic yoga. Practice is key. So doing the work ourselves, the willingness to step into the fire and to try to reach towards our highest potential. And to be clear, the highest potential can never be reached, because as soon as you get there, your potential has now expanded outward and bigger. So it's not that this is like a end point. Oh, we reach our highest potential and then we are enlightened. It's not about that at all. So what I want to say is that with this vision, we are striving to achieve something massive that may be not possible in an hour-long yoga class, but the question is, what would happen if we held every yoga class and every action and every moment to that standard? What would we be able to achieve because we were thinking bigger, greater? We want to remove all suffering, and now look what yoga has created in the world, this big, massive movement. So it's not that we have to necessarily in an instant unveil someone's highest potential, but if we put that intention behind everything we do, things will get stronger and more powerful. And this is not about you becoming a guru or becoming better than anybody. This is about us trying to help students become more self-aware on the easeful, to say it easefully. If we step into the fire as a teacher of supporting others in developing their self-awareness, then highest potential is inevitable. Awareness is really the goal. And in that state of awareness, that's where living boundlessly, or the revelations of what my next step is, happens. So I'm going to keep reading here and we'll continue to elaborate. Chromatic yoga is a school that honors and welcomes the wide variety of yoga traditions and styles. Rather than defining ourselves by the postures or the practices, we instead look at the higher purpose, recognizing that we are intimately and energetically intertwined with each other through the force of nature that exists within us. We are each unique expressions of the bigger power. This realization can be attained in any moment when we pause and become aware of the magnificence of our body, mind, and breath, but it is easily forgotten in the business of our daily life. So the idea is we want to tap into that state of we are nature, and in that place, when we get back into that remembrance of who we truly are, it's easy to unveil and ignite our highest potential. Now, how do we do that is the question. How do we ignite and unveil others' highest potential? In every training so far, I've given this quote: dream big, but start small, then connect the dots. Take small steps. Taking one step at a time towards something bigger. This is the idea of chromatic yoga. Small steps to something bigger, to discover this full spectrum of life. Giving people the physical through line, one muscle to activate through the entire hour or hour and a half, or through the week or through the month, so you have a sense of mastery of this one muscle. So mastery can never be forgotten. So when you move on to the next muscle, they've got one muscle and now another muscle. Then month 3, they've got 3 muscles. Month 4, 4 muscles. Month 12, second year, we've got 24 muscles that we are really attuned to and masterful with. Together, if we're doing this globally, it's huge. People are becoming more aware of their body, their highest potential in their physical form. Now we have the thematic through line, which is to support the growth on an emotional level, to support the clarity of our mind, and to re-identify, to align the ego with something bigger, the universal energy that is nature. So let me go through the pillars of chromatic yoga. It's P.A.C, P.A.C. Pack conveniently represents the pillars of chromatic yoga. A pack of wolves, for example, is a community that comes together to support their collective strength, fulfill their social roles, looking out for the well-being of one another. Chromatic yoga is a place where we support one another in our journey toward our highest potential. Empowering each individual inspires a rising of the collective. So empowering each individual inspires a rising of the collective. Chromatic stands upon these pillars. So pack meaning we are doing this together. Practice. Practice is the action of aligning with our intention on a regular basis. Chromatic teachers and students alike honor the importance of practice as the way towards self-awareness and living boundlessly from our highest potential. This is not limited to being on the yoga mat, but rather wide open to the spectrum of practices for the purpose of revelation. From practice comes wisdom, and from wisdom comes the empowerment to support the rising of others. So this is the idea. We want to rise up and support others. We have to feel empowered in that place. So practice empowers us. It makes us feel worthy of ourselves, of being who we are. It reveals our weaknesses, it reveals our strengths. Practice is what makes us deliver in an authentic way. So authenticity is the next one. Authenticity is also a chromatic core value, which we'll get to in the next video. It is a pillar which we stand upon. To be authentic, we must strip away the layers of our emotional armor and be courageous enough to share ourselves for the sake of inspiring a heartfelt connection. So we strip back our emotional armor and allow people to see us fully for the sake of inspiring heartfelt connections, because we stand upon community, which is the next one. But first, authenticity requires courage and vulnerability. and it is the energy that attracts abundance of all of life's gifts that we seek. Authenticity is attractive. When someone is just comfortable in who they are, people want to connect with that person. There's a realness to it that is attractive. There's a grounding, an earthliness, a supportiveness, the one that feels safe. We feel safe in somebody who's just being truthful with us about who they are. So we do the same as teachers. Community. Community makes us stronger and holds us to our spiritual path. It binds us to our integrity. In this community, we are held and hold others from a place of love. We support each other in our practice of staying true to our intention. This is not about shaming or guilting, but rather serving as a reminder and a reflection of our highest intention. When we are not living or acting in alignment with our intention, the first thing we will do is step away from anyone that would remind us of that. This is why community is a pillar. It serves as a reminder of who we truly are below the surface of the day-to-day troubles, and it asks us to step up to our fullest potential. In the good times, community is our collective strength for which we thrive. In the bad times, community is the fire that reignites our soul's purpose. But first, we must choose it. And that's the key line. We must choose community first. Choose it in the good times. Choose it now. Choose it in all times, because when the shit hits the fan, when we get to that place where it'd be easier to step out of community, isolate ourselves, that's when we have to remind ourselves, this is a core value of mine. This is a pillar for which I practice upon, for which I hold my life upon, to stay in community. And that takes us out of isolation. It makes us show up. It makes us, that's the key word, it makes us show up regardless of what's going on. And in that community, we can be held, supported, loved. Our needs can be met. We can ask for what we need. We can support others. So this is part of the new Chromatic Yoga Manual, and I will include this in writing for you to, below this video, for you to connect to and read on your own. Many themes can come out of this. Many explanations about what Chromatic Yoga is can come out of it. Chromatic Yoga is not a yoga style, but rather embraces all styles. Stylistic expressions, because style is unique expression of who we are. However, the tools that we use are common in Chromatic Yoga. We use tools to support and ignite people's highest potential. This is the idea. It's a transformative practice. It's one that seeks to support others to live boundlessly. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this community. I'm super stoked to find new ways of connecting to each other and to ignite this community on a big level. And thank you for those that inspired me to rewrite the new manual, to step up and continue to evolve what Chromatic Yoga is. I'm super excited to be a part of this movement, and I'm amazingly grateful to the new community of level 1 students that just graduated. That was such a powerful experience, and please welcome each other into this community. Say hello, introduce yourselves, and let's continue the work. All right, everyone. See you soon.